So I wasn't planning on making any kind of video content for Cyberpunk 2077. There's no review coming or anything like that, but after spending 17 hours playing this game on console, I needed to sit down and make this short video PSA to get across this very basic message. This game is an unfinished, broken, buggy mess, and you should not play it or buy it in its current state. CD Projekt Red should not be taking money for this thing right now, and the monumental amounts of goodwill that they've managed to build up over the years has been irreversibly tainted. Now, I know some of you are going to immediately jump on me and say, Craig, you played it on console. You should be playing it on PC. It's your fault you're having a bad experience. Well, first off, they're selling it on consoles. They're charging the same amount on consoles that they are on PC. I think it's fair to expect a functional, working product when you spend $60 on it. Them releasing it sends the message that it's done, that it's complete, that it's ready to be played. And second, I did try to play it on PC at first, but unfortunately my PC is a bit out of date, so it wasn't a particularly smooth experience there either, and since I wanted to stream the game from time to time, it was just too much for my computer, so I refunded the version I bought on GOG, and I bought it on console instead, hoping that it was at least decent, and it's not. Before I get into all the bugs, let me just say this right now, even if things were working perfectly, even if the game was completely stable and I didn't run into any bugs or crashes or any bullshit, I honestly don't think Cyberpunk is all that great to begin with. It's okay, the world is kind of interesting, I'm liking some of the characters I'm encountering, but it's nothing mind-blowing, and its base systems and design, I think, are very clunky, outdated, and overrated. This game is not the second coming of RPGs that everyone built it up as. It's just okay. Now, I'm playing the game on PS5, but I'm not actually playing the next-gen version because they're not out yet. So instead, I'm playing the PS4 version via backwards compatibility, and that gives me some enhancements. Notably, the game runs at 60 frames on PS5, and to be fair, it is a relatively consistent 60, except when you're driving around, then it dips. But I can forgive the game not looking great, okay, because it doesn't. There's tons and tons of pop-in. The shadows don't really look all that great. There's texture loading that is so blatant at times, but I can forgive that if the base experience is at least functional and I'm having a consistent time, and I'm not. When it comes to bugs, I have not had a single play session where I have not run into multiple issues. Some of them small, yeah, but some of them huge, game-breaking, immersion-shattering issues that I run into at least every 30 minutes, if not more frequently than that. Unfortunately, I don't have much footage to accompany the bugs that I'm about to list off because, again, I wasn't planning on making any kind of Cyberpunk content, so I wasn't recording any footage, and that made me hesitate to even talk about all of this. But just for fun, I decided, hey, let's boot up the game again and start recording some stuff, because I knew I would run into something. I would have something to showcase, and rest assured, I do. Let me just go down the list. Whenever I look in a mirror, all of my characters' facial features and all of their equipment is just gone. During stealth, characters have seen me through walls, or they've just in one frame 180'd, which completely blows my cover. There are times where, also sneaking around, I pick up a body to move him to another part of the room, and when I place down the body, it slams the body on the floor, and there's all of a sudden blood everywhere, as if I was the Hulk and the body was Loki. During the heist mission, the story heist mission, there's supposed to be a big armored guy that comes out of an elevator to fight you, but for me, he just got stuck in the elevator and was flickering there, so I just shot him a bunch, and that was the end of it. I encountered a bug where I came out of a story mission and I couldn't run anymore. It didn't matter if I got on the bike or fast traveled or exited to the main menu. I had to fully reset the whole game in order to run again. Frequently, whenever I get off my bike, my vision is zoomed in for some reason, and I have to zoom it back out. That happens all of the time. Sometimes V will try to climb pieces of the environment that he clearly can't, like a shelf. When entering cutscenes, I'll come out of them, and my character's inputs from when I entered will still be there, so he'll just start moving on his own, or the camera will start turning on its own. Charge weapons, I had an issue where they just wouldn't charge anymore. I couldn't use them whatsoever. Had to restart the game to fix that too. I've had objects floating in the air, weapons, pieces of debris, just things in the environment, which aren't game-breaking, but they are very, very distracting. Frequently, whenever I try to pause the game or go into a menu or use a fast travel station, instead of actually going into the appropriate menu, it'll just flash black for a second and nothing will happen, as if it was trying to load in the menu I wanted, but just gave up, and then I have to do it again. I've had characters A-posing or kind of doing their animation but not in the correct spot, so they've been sliding around trying to get back in a position but never quite nailing it. I also had that happen with me where I was just walking through an area and then Naruto teleported to a bench even though I was nowhere near it and didn't tell him to sit on it. At least once every encounter or two after I've killed a bunch of guys, one of the bodies will have this very distracting glitchy, staticky effect constantly around them. I don't know what it is, but it's clearly not supposed to be there. Anytime there's piles of garbage, the game doesn't know what to do. I've had garbage piles just throw me several feet away, and there was one time where I was just standing on a garbage pile and it ate me and I immediately died. I wish I was recording for the one I'm about to describe, but there was one time when these gang guys drove up on me, but one guy was stuck in the car at the waist, and so I killed him, and he was still stuck in the car, and then he slowly floated out of the car and started cartwheeling through the air, and then when he landed on the ground several feet away, the car he was in magically teleported to where he was, but now it was upside down, which was funny, but really weird. I had a guy take cover behind a concrete barrier, but he did so, sideways, at a 90-degree angle, and then when I killed him, he fell into the floor. In that very same encounter, actually, the officer that I was saving, because he was held hostage by a bunch of gang members, even though I never shot him or bumped into him or did anything toward him, he determined me saving him as a hostile act and started coming at me with his billy club, which sucked. And on top of all of that, I've had this game crash on me 8 times. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Did I say 8? I meant 9, because while I was capturing the footage that you've been seeing this whole time, after 50 minutes of gameplay, it crashed again. This game is not finished. It should not be out and being sold for money. CD Projekt Red should have delayed this game again. I know, they'll stick with it. They'll fix it. Eventually things will be better. The next-gen versions will probably improve things. They'll iron out the bugs and make the game function. But if that's the case, if the game's not done yet and still needs months of patches to work properly, they should not be selling it. If you haven't bought this game yet, don't. Hold off until they've actually finished it and it's a functional product across the board. And if you're one of the people out there that have been having a great time and not run into many bugs at all and no crashes and everything's working hunky-dory, good for you. But for a lot of other people, this is the experience they're having, and it shouldn't be the case. I'm gonna go spend my time playing games that came out this year that actually fucking work. Have a good day.